When you want to create a nice thin stripe of buttercream in your piping bag, you want to use a nice small knife like this one. It's got quite a thin tip so you can really control where you're putting the buttercream. Have your beaker ready so that you can be hands-free. You want your colour that you want to make your stripe with, and obviously you only need a little bit of that. And then you want your main colour buttercream ready to load up. Now when you put your piping tip in the bag, you want to make sure that the bit that you want the stripe to come out on, so for example this one, I want it to come out along the thin end, you want to line it up in the piping bag so that it's along this crease, and then that way you can get a really nice straight line. So just turn your piping bag inside out and get it as neat as possible so that you can have a really good line of vision down the whole bag and you can see exactly where you're putting the buttercream, and make sure that you know which side of the bag you want to line. So I know I'm going to put it down there, so you can pop that on there while you sort your buttercream out. So with your slim knife, take a really small amount of buttercream here, because I want the stripe to be nice and thin. So I'm just going to take a really small amount like this, and then take up your piping bag. Make sure that you've got it so that you're going to put it down the correct side. Then I'm going to try and get it right down to the bottom so that it's right on top of the piping tip, and just smear that thin line of buttercream up the crease of the piping bag. Now to hold it still, I've just got a grip on the piping tip here, and that will keep the bag still for you. So as you can see, I'm just going to grab a bit more buttercream here. As you can see, I'm putting the buttercream in the bag so that it's even all the way up. You want to take your time and just make sure that you've got the whole line covered and it's a nice thin layer but evenly spread, and then it will be the same throughout as your piping. So once you're happy with how that looks, you've got your nice neat line and it's all straight, you can pop that over your beaker so that your hand's free to add the rest of your colour. Make sure it's nice and smooth before you load it up into the bag, and you want to smush it against the other side of the piping bag so you don't spoil your nice straight line. Get every little bit in there. Now when you take your bag off the beaker, just give it a little bit of a shake to encourage the buttercream down, and then from the top squeeze that main colour down to the bottom, and then you can see, you just make sure that the stripe is lined up with the part of the piping tip that you want and that you haven't jogged it at all as you've put it in the bag. Now you want to pipe out some buttercream until you can see that stripe coming through. So just into a bowl, pipe out your buttercream. I actually didn't go very far down with mine here, so I've had to pipe out quite a lot before it's come through. But when it does, as you're piping, you'll see you've got that beautiful edging. And it gives you a lovely two-tone effect on your flowers. Now to get the thin stripe, as you can see, it doesn't matter how wide across the bag you've gone really. It's how thick you've lined it that determines the thickness of the stripe that comes out the end of the piping tip. And then you can create all sorts of pretty flowers with this lovely two-tone effect.